What are your daily practices and habits? I tend to have a high energy level and am driven to accomplish many things throughout the day. That leads me to rush into my business for the day. For many years, I pretty much just coasted along with my spiritual formation. I would get up in the morning, rush to my job, or get busy on my tasks for the day, and not stop long enough to be with God. I still have a lot of growing to do in this. It is a constant challenge, even with being indoors right now, to spend time with God. A few years ago, I was inspired by my wife to begin journaling the Bible. Since then, I've made over 1,100 blog entries on the New Testament on my website, several 100,000 words, one or a few verses at a time. Sleep is important to us. Most of us do not get enough sleep. I'm also not the greatest morning person. Listen to how David dealt with some of his problems, as recorded in Psalm 5. Listen to my words, Lord. Consider my lament. Hear my cry for help, my King and my God. For to you I pray. In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly. David learned to turn to God during his struggles. A lament is a cry to God for help. Sometimes these cries are filled with pain and emotion. There are more psalms of lament than any other type. David turned to God in the morning about his problems. This gave him strength to face the day and whatever it would bring his way. David acknowledged God's sovereignty and power as King and God. He knew in faith that God would hear his requests. He did not rush into the day, but waited expectantly for God to bring an answer of new perspective and relief. David next describes the possible causes of his challenges. For you are not a God who is pleased with wickedness. With you, evil people are not welcome. The arrogant cannot stand in your presence. You hate all who do wrong. You destroy those who tell lies. The bloodthirsty and deceitful, you, Lord, detest. David sides with God's holy character, and not responding in like kind to those who are causing him harm. Let God be the one who deals with the evil and arrogant people around us. Our job is to trust in God and love our enemies. God will judge those who do wrong. Those who do not live by God's laws will face justice. We can release people to God to take care of these matters. We do not need to carry this burden on our own. After expressing what is stressing him and causing him pain, David looks into his own heart. But I, by your great love, can come into your house. In reverence I bow down towards your holy temple. We must look within ourselves to make sure our motives are pure. The best way I know how to do this is to spend time in God's presence. As every person in the Bible experienced, coming into the presence of the Holy Creator of the universe will reveal anything that is impure or sinful in our lives. Worship reveals what needs to be refined out so that we can become pure. God allows us to come to Him with our complaints, but we must be ready to be challenged and changed by spending time with Him. David senses in this psalm how God is leading him as he spends time in the morning with God. Lead me, Lord, in your righteousness. Because of my enemies, make your way straight before me. Not a word from their mouth can be trusted. Their heart is filled with malice. Their throat is an open grave. With their tongues they tell lies. Declare them guilty, O God. Let their intrigues be their downfall. Banish them for their many sins, for they have rebelled against you. David realizes as he reflects further that what God desires for him is to walk in righteousness. Walking in righteousness helps us have clarity on God's will, but at the same time will also help us better see the darkness around us. David's words may seem strong here, especially to the ears of us believers. He is calling for justice for the wicked and deceitful who rebel against God. The strong emotions behind these words reveal the depth of David's pain, but also his confidence in God's justice. The psalm ends with a declaration of assurance. But let all who take refuge in you be glad. Let them ever sing for joy. Spread your protection over them. that those who love your name may rejoice in you. Surely, Lord, you bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor, as with a shield. By the end of the psalm, David has found the source of strength to help him through the day. Once he confessed his deep feelings about the people around him and released those feelings to God, he experienced healing and renewal. He knew God would protect him against the enemies around him. He could even rejoice in the middle of all his problems because he had aligned his life with the righteous way of God. Living as God wants us to is not a guarantee that we will never face challenges. In fact, we may face more challenges because we are going against the darkness around us. But we also know that walking with God brings blessings and protection.